How might the Ukraine crisis affect Taiwan? Well, today I speak with Kharis Templeman, who is a political scientist at Stanford University with the Hoover Project on Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific. Thank you for joining me, Kharis.
Thanks for having me.
Well, I know that you recently wrote an article saying that Taiwan is not Ukraine. There is anxiety in Taiwan, though, that people compare Ukraine with Taiwan. I know you wrote an article saying we're not the same thing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the instinct to compare the two and to find similarities is a natural one, and it's understandable. But I think the differences are far greater than the similarities. In particular, Taiwan is a much more valuable and integral partner with the United States. It's an important trading partner. It's our ninth largest trading partner. It's the source of some key components to critical advanced technology that the United States manufactures or imports. And more importantly, it's been a stellar partner of the United States in the region for the last 70 plus years. The U.S. has been directly involved in providing for Taiwan's security since 1950. We don't have anything like a similar history with Ukraine. Ukraine, for many years was part of the Soviet Union, and then our interaction with them is strictly limited to the post-Cold War period, and it's been led, I would argue, mostly by the European powers rather than us. And the concerns about Ukraine's status, I think, are second-order concerns related to the United States' relationships with Europe and our interest in seeing a prosperous, stable, and free European Union. And so, for all of those reasons, I think the Taiwan situation is quite a bit different, not really analogous to the Ukraine security threat that it faces today.
Do you think that Russia's aggressive, invasion of Ukraine could embolden China to want to invade Taiwan?
If I had to make a guess, I think it would actually increase the unity among the United States and our allies and partners in favor of a bolder response to any Chinese pressure on Taiwan. As I just argued, Ukraine is of lesser interest to the United States generally than Taiwan. And so if we're on the outside looking in at an incursion into Ukraine territory, we're going to be under much bigger pressure to respond to any kind of incursion into Taiwanese waters or airspace or, God forbid, Taiwanese territory. So, and I think the other piece here is that China knows that. The folks in Beijing know that Taiwan is a major, it's a place of major interest and concern to the United States and has been for a long time. There's a reason we continue to sell arms to Taiwan over vehement Chinese objections. There's a reason we continue to speak very carefully about our relationship with Taiwan, but do not concede to the Chinese position that Taiwan is part of China and should be under the rule of Beijing. We have borne significant costs over the long term in order to maintain that position, and that signals credibly that Taiwan is important to the United States.
Do you think that the U.S. will strengthen its defense of Taiwan in the wake of, this Ukraine crisis?
Yeah, so the U.S. doesn't have a formal commitment to defend Taiwan, and I don't see us moving away from what is known as strategic ambiguity in shorthand. So we don't take a clear position on whether we would defend Taiwan or not under certain circumstances. I actually think that's the right policy, and my sense is that will continue. The decision makers within the Biden administration seem to suggest that they agree with that view. What we can do is take additional steps that do not violate our policy of strategic ambiguity. So closer mill-to-mill cooperation that's done in private or quietly, greater and more frequent exercises with other partners and allies in the region, I think, who would also be called upon to defend Taiwan in the event of a conflict. I actually think that there's going to be a lot of more interest in the non-military aspects of this relationship. And that's where the U.S. can really make some forward progress over the next couple of years. My hope is that there's discussion of a bilateral trade agreement or something that would involve steps up to that point that would further integrate Taiwan's economy with the United States and our other close allies and partners in the region. But that push, I think, has to come from the Biden administration, the U.S. side first. Taiwan has done a lot to indicate their openness to that, and it's incumbent upon the U.S. side then to reciprocate to that.
Well, thank you so much, Kharis. Thank you so much
Yep.
for speaking with me. I've been speaking with Kharis Templeman, a political scientist at Stanford University with the Hoover Project on Taiwan in the Indo-Pacific.